Everybody, we are going live in 2 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It says it's already streaming live on. Kitty, you'll start, right?
Yeah.
Hi, Amar.
Yes.
Okay. When will we know how many participants there are?
We're going live in 2 minutes.
Okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Says it's already streaming live. Yeah. Kitty, you'll start, right?
Yes, I'm starting in 2 minutes. Yes.
Can you hear us? Is our audio okay?
Yes, I can hear you.
Divya, all of them?
Yes.
Yes,
Let
yes.
us know. Let us know if there's an audio problem.
The audio is fine. Okay.
Mm.
Hi, Amber. We missed.
We missed you yesterday. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I'm so sorry, but Mondays is our reviews and on that time, so couldn't join.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to another session of DNI Pe Charcha brought to you by India Diversity Forum. I, Sanjana Seth, welcome you to the DNI Pe Charcha August edition. There are many ways you lead an organization to create more supportive environment in which all people are equally able to flourish professionally and personally. There are different strategies and initiatives that an organization can conduct to create a safe workplace. Good evening, everyone. To discuss on such an interesting topic, India Diversity Forum brings to you this exclusive panel discussion on the topic creating safe spaces at work, an important cornerstone for DNI. To begin with the charcha, I would like to welcome our esteemed speakers for this session. So we have Mr. Hitesh Desai, the Associate Director HR at Sai Life Sciences Limited, Divya Rao, Associate Director People and Performance Coilers India, Joshita Kandan, AVP CHR and HR Analytics SRF Limited, Amar Salvi, SVP Human Resources and Training, Ananda Tech. And our moderator for the session is Preeti Reddy, Chairwoman, South Asia Insights Division, Kantar. Thank you to all the speakers for accepting the invitation and being a part of the panel discussion. Preeti, all over to you.
Thank you, and delighted to be here today, and welcome to our to all our really esteemed panelists. I'm going to speak, not to speak if I can, and actually get our panelists, because we need to hear their views. I think let's start with answering a basic question of what in your opinion is a safe space at work. I mean, organizations don't set out to make unsafe places. So why is it important to talk about this, and why is it important to create a safe space? Amar, you've had a really, I think, the longest experience of any of our panelists in HR. Maybe you can start and tell us, in your opinion, what's a safe space and why is it so important?
I think we need to look at it in context of pre-pandemic and post-pandemic world, because everything has changed after the pandemic came in. Actually, it leapfrogged the whole concept itself of a safe place to work, isn't it? Because here we were focused, if you really look at all the, policies and all, they were mostly focused on a workplace where a person comes to work and making sure that the person has got a safe environment to work in. And what happened with the pandemic was the whole concept of a workplace itself changed, right? So you have people spread out and they were getting impacted. We saw that real live where families were getting impacted, families of employees were getting impacted, and they needed that support coming in from their employers, and employers stepped in. They stepped up to that task, and they not only provided employee assistance programs, they tied up with companies which specialize in this, made sure doctors and counselors were being made available. I think the whole paradigm has changed. And more so when we look around now, I think the government also has stepped up to that fact. If you look at the occupational safety and work environment policy that has come out in 2020 itself, I think that's again leapfrogging. Earlier they used to have different policies, 13 different policies catering to different acts. Everything is getting consolidated. Have we reached there yet? I don't think so. I think it's still a journey that we are. But if you look back 2.5 years back, and what we are as a corporate entity, I think across industries, things have changed for the better.
Sure.
And employers are stepping up and making sure that employees are taken care of, not only in their physical well-being, but more so the mental health aspect as well.
Divya, do you want to build on this? Because I think it's an important point that we started with the physical infrastructure and giving safety there, but it has gone beyond that. What is your view on this?
Thanks, Preeti. But yes, I would add on to what Amar said. Well, for me, in my opinion, anywhere where an employee is, in terms whether it's site or office, because we are into real estate space, employees should feel secure in all spheres of their lives. Maybe it can be physical, it can be social, it can be financial, mental, and also being inclusive. So this requires a lot of confidence in terms of how we support them. And do employees get queries? Definitely, yes. Queries, obstacles that might result in toxic workplace and environment where employees feel restricted at times for various reasons. But I'm sure, as rightly said by Amar, post 2 years of being in remote or hybrid work, business have learned a lot. They have established improved initiative to ensure that employees present themselves, feel respected, also ensure that any uncomfortable and challenging talk can be spoken without fear of being judged. So according to me, employees must feel encouraged, motivated, and definitely a healthy lifestyle. Having to said that, people need to feel respected. At the same time, we spend majority of time at work, right? So it's essential to have one's own sense of self-worth. Last year, we were certified a great place to work. And in terms of space or physical, we have bought in a lot of policies that are really, really essential, like POSH policy, grievance cell. We did have whistleblower policy. We do a lot of well-being campaigns at office. Just to keep people engaged. We do summer and winter sports to promote physical health at work. Similarly, when it comes to financial, mental, and social, we have our EAP, mindful sessions. We do a lot of savings in terms of tax savings, letting them know where you can, invest in terms of portfolio and all of that.
Sure.
A lot of drives coming our way. So just to summarize in a quick thing, yes, we've brought a lot of changes, which is noticed. It can be through policies and processes, but now it's equally important that we all sustain it.
Yeah, absolutely. Hitesh, Divya has, gave us many examples of what it's like an all-encompassing safety for our people in terms of the workplace. What would you, how would you add to this? You've spent a long years in different kinds of industries, Right now, of course, it's pharma, but you worked in the service industry and various others. What is your take on this?
I would extend the thoughts which my friends Amar and Divya have extended their thoughts. Along with that, I am also of the view that along with the physical safety and the laid down rules, safety also means a lot. Rather, the importance of safety extended towards mental safety also. People should feel accepted at workplace. It is not just keeping OHC or occupational health center at the workplace or at a manufacturing place. I will have only examples of manufacturing as I am being into manufacturing. So it is not just keeping occupational health center at the workplace, but along with that, our people, our employees should also feel they are mentally safe, they are mentally accepted, and they are free to express their views. That is also a kind of a safe workplace. Unless they have been given such type of freedom to express themselves, they won't be open. And nowadays, post-pandemic, as Amar rightly said, people start looking at mental wellness also.
Yeah, absolutely. And we'll come back to that as soon as we've got Joshita's views on this. Joshita has been telling us that it is not only, I know the pandemic accelerated and suddenly, brought everything into sharp focus. But I think this has been something, Joshita, you said you've been doing for a while now, and you are the champion of IND in your organization. So what is, let's share your views as well.
So I'll talk about the feeling that one has. And, there's a very apt, poem that Rabindranath Tagore once wrote, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high. If your employee feels that he or she has nothing to fear, there's no intimidation, and I can be myself without being feared, and as Divya said, without being judged, that is a safe place for me. I think gone are those days when we could just say that, I have taken care, as an employee, I've taken care of occupational health and safety. Gone are those days. We are no longer in that era. We do not, the generations have changed. Today's generation is very aware of their rights, and you will very soon lose credibility if as an organization you're not providing a safe place. So it's no longer an option, I would say. Now one has to look at, if you are the safest place to work, what do you need to do? You need not restrict to only say women, for example. This is a very real world mistake that organizations do. I'll create a safe place and my women feel safe. Safety is for everyone. And that's how you need to look at it. Whether it's women, whether it's men, whether it's people from various backgrounds, various orientation. And it's eventually, whatever you do, however number of policies you create, whatever mechanisms you have, eventually what is the feeling that the person has? What is the feeling that the person is carrying? If they feel safe, even without any written down policy, you have a safe place. If they do not feel safe, even when you have thousands of awards and thousands of policies in place, I don't think it's worth it.
Absolutely, that really well said. In fact, I think we all agree that a safe place is desirable, and I think we have all said that we're doing our bit. But maybe now let's just look at what are the practices that each of you have followed, and what has worked for you, and what are the major barriers that you face? Because I'm saying we have one desired endpoint. Are we there yet in our organization? What are we doing to get there, and are we there yet? Maybe let's start with you, Joshita, and say, what challenges, how far have you got, and really give us some examples of which, because, there people can then benefit from the good practices that, or maybe mistakes that you have made that, we can learn from as well.
See, when it comes to, safety, the most important thing is the credibility that your organization has in the eyes of your own employees. So I say, for example, let's talk about safety for women. Now, as an individual, as a lady, I should feel safe in talking about my issue if there is a problem that I'm facing. And that is the biggest fear. If as a woman, I am not confident that my concern would remain confidential. There will be no vindictiveness. There will be no, my perceived future is protected. That would, to my mind, be the biggest barrier for me. However, these again and can be handled the moment you have your management by your side, your leadership by your side. So awareness and understanding by the leadership is very important. Lack of awareness often comes, comes forth as a barrier. And finally, lack of appreciation for others. And we have so many examples. I don't want to name organizations, but we have so many examples that have been in the news for the wrong reason. Eventually, what you will see is there is some amount of lack of conviction somewhere amongst leadership. If the leader is not convinced, you may continue doing, continue seeing these as unnecessary compliances that are required, mandated. But you have to have a wholehearted buy-in. And see, and I don't believe in the statement that men will be men. And I'm only talking about Posh, for example. I don't believe in that. Because it's not how.
I mean, I hope nobody believes in that, not just you, that men will be men. I mean, it's
surrounded by civilized people. There are a few elements, I would say. There are a few elements that we have to handle. And there is a machinery that needs to be strong enough. That's all that we need to do. Rather than typecasting and saying that, all men are bad.
Okay. So, maybe somebody else, Hitesh, do you want to share some practices that actually your organization has done? And then we'll come to Amar and Divya, because, what has worked for you? What is the principle that you're following in the organization, and what has worked for you?
See, I would say that if we start feeling the safety, and if we convey that I am feeling safe because of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and the same feeling which my employee have, I can say that my place is a safe place. Here, I would like to cite one of the little old example which I have practiced. Very small, I would say very common example. A pregnant lady coming to my office, and one fine day he came to my cabin and saying that, sir, I wanted to resign. I said, why? She eventually, she said that because I'm caring and my family are not in agreement with me, because she has to walk on the 4th floor of the building. So it would be dangerous for her health and baby's health. So I wanted to leave. I said, if that is the only reason, I'll give you the place for sitting on the ground floor. If you are feeling safe by that way, it's not much bigger thing. And I could see that she got convinced. Her husband came to my office, met me, given the table, and still, even after say 6 years, she's still working. So if you really look at the safety of the people, it not be just on the paper or on the policy. We should start living with it. We should start practicing with it. That will create the safe environment. Of course, I will not say that it would be easy. That will have a barrier, but it is not impossible. Also, if we try, we'll get it done.
Hitesh, you're obviously a better boss than some of the bosses I've had in the past, because that was much earlier. I remember when I got pregnant and I went to my boss and I said, I'm pregnant. His first reaction was, oh no. Okay, so
6 month gap.
Anyway, Amar, what do you want to contribute? What would you say to what we're?
I'm just building on what Hitesh said earlier. What is a safe place actually? Because when we talk about mental health and all, we need to have an environment where people feel safe to voice their opinions, right? And without fear of any repercussions. And one of the things that we practice at Ananta is the people connect session with our CEO. And this happens without fail every 6 months. And during the pandemic, this really, really helped, because here was the CEO, along with the business unit heads, along with the support function heads, meeting up with people live on Zoom And we covered out of our, at that point, 550 employees, we had covered 485 people. And this was possible. And this is not a single session. These were sessions of 25, 30 people, and it was well scheduled and all. And this is where employees could come up and ask the CEO any question that was bothering them. And those days, there were a lot of things on everyone's mind. Are our salaries going to get paid on time? Are we going to get increments on time? I need financial assistance. All of those things addressed immediately. And then this is something that I think is now going to be part of every company's way of working. Because if you don't have connect, if you say that, hey, we have this policy, I'll share an example with you. We have a grievance redressal email. Okay, that's been created, it's been circulated. Guess how many grievances we get over there? 0. We don't get grievances coming on emails because people would rather have a personal connect when they have a problem. And if my HR Spock has got that personal connect, he or she will come and tell me immediately, so and so has got this issue, and this is how we are sorting this out. I think that itself is creating, while you should have these means and mechanisms for people to reach out, but one should not be under the impression just because something is not coming there, everything
that is not happening.
Everything is running fine. And I think those are some of the things that have worked very well for us.
You're saying consistent communication and that the top leadership's involvement has really helped.
Yes, and then these minutes are published. These minutes are published with the action taken on the suggestions. So that has really helped us along the way.
Okay. Divya, what has been done in your organization?
Okay, there's many to state in terms of what we have done. Definitely, to just start off with, to say that we give equal opportunity for men and women in our organization, and our policy also states that. And if you say, when I say policy, all our policies are gender neutral policies that we adhere to, from POSH to focusing on any kind of activity that we have at office. At this point in time, we're just focusing on more on the learning and caring culture, because we want employees to know that productivity and caring goes along a long way. What kind of activities that we have done is, one is as soon as the employee joins in, the HR connects with the employee in terms of getting to understand how things good, what kind of support you need. And then we have our CEO connecting with all new joinees. That's the first step, where our CEO connects to understand what's going good, what do you want to know about the company and all of that, apart from our regular induction program, new hire assimilation program, all of that. We also have an open door policy. It's a flat organization, so people connect with any leader at any given point. We can just walk up to people and speak up. They're more welcoming for us. And a lot of employee engagement programs that we conduct. And also we have leaders, especially the CEO, whenever he travels to different location, he connects with all the youngsters to get to understand what's new, what kind of support they need. And that's when it comes back to HR to resolve it, and vice versa. So it's more of managers connecting with employees to just get to know how they're doing, how are they feeling for that particular day, and then HR coming to picture and kind of support, management coming into support in terms of what more, what else, what extra that you need. So we also do a lot of, once a year we do a survey to understand the pulse of people in terms of the values, the culture, and what kind of support, what is lacking. And we work towards it to ensure that by next year, it's all set and employees have something new or they appreciate what we have. So these surveys really help us to get to understand. And to end, rewards and recognition definitely plays a very important role for us. So for 1 year, 3 years, 5 years, 10, 15 goes on. So there are different kinds of recognition. We have peer-to-peer recognition. So different ways of recognizing people so that they're motivated and they openly share what they feel. So that's the beauty, or that's the USP for us.
That's amazing. And, all four of you are in HR. So really my next question to you is, and this is something that I have faced when I was running an organization, when I was CEO, which is everybody seems to think it's HR's problem. It is HR has to do this. HR has, and the greatest, barrier actually we found was getting everybody involved. Because anything that you do obviously has more impact if the entire organization is behind it, and not just HR and the CEO. So have you done, what have you done, Joshita, for instance, to get more people involved in this whole agenda of safe place, etc.?
Preeti, for us, we've learned from, like what Amar said, that they had a system and there was zero grievances over there, and we sort of learned from a mistake, and now we very strongly believe that there is a very small and most important ecosystem that exists between the manager and the subordinate. So you can have systems wherein there is an award, there is a card, and there's a birthday wish and everything happening. But imagine, HR can do all of that. Imagine the manager forgetting the birthday of the individual. So we said that,
exactly.
HR has to make themselves redundant. An ideal organization is one where this ecosystem flourishes, where the boss subordinate are in a relationship where both are absolutely free with them without any fear of judgment, fear of any sort. And that relationship is something that we've been very strongly focusing on. We've seen, and there's enough data that we've collected in the last 5 years that proves this point very strongly for us, that wherever these relationships are strong, you can do whatever. This is the essential thing to have. You can have town halls, you can have great policies, you can have fantastic salaries, you can give rewards and recognitions, but if I am not comfortable with the first person that I walk into every day, meet every day, no amount of HR policies can help me. So the focus shifted from HR trying to do everything in behalf of the manager. In fact, very often I had this experience where an employee had an unfavorable sort of an experience with the manager, and this individual wanted to escalate it. Now, after a certain amount of counseling, the individual was convinced that I should speak with my manager first. And you can't imagine how smoothly it went and how naturally it sort of got resolved on its own. Because the manager respected the fact that you came to me first rather than going to my
rather than, yeah.
And that relationship further strengthened itself. So and that's where training managers also comes handy. So you've got to train your managers. We can't continue doing what we were doing for so many years, even as managers. This generation is different. This world
is completely different.
The expectations are different.
Absolutely. Amar, in the process of creating safe spaces and affirmative action towards, say, women or the differently abled or something, we're often faced with compromises and trade-offs. How do you handle that, in the sense that, when you're hiring, and if you have a quota for women, I don't know if you do, but suppose you have a quota for women, or do you have a quota for differently abled?
No, we don't have a quota for women as such. It's an equal opportunity employment that we follow. But the team is under instruction that if you come across a differently abled person, you need to look at what is it that we are hiring for? We are a tech company. So if the person has got the technical know-how, but he needs special assistance, then we do consider that. And we do have such employees working with us who need special considerations. And we look into those cases separately. And one of the things I wanted to add on to the
Right.
previous point on
Right.
what you mentioned about, HR being the person, the
Yes.
flag
Yes.
bearer of all
Yeah.
these things and policies and all. Hey, if it's attrition, it's HR has to look into it, and
Look
you
into
question
it. Yeah.
HR.
Yeah.
Why is
Why you're not
attrition
hiring
going up?
enough?
What are you doing about it?
Yeah.
My constant refrain on that, and to all our leadership, is just one question: do you deal with people? And if the answer to that is yes, then you are in HR.
Exactly.
Okay, it's not just me. I'm not in HR. If you
Exactly.
deal with people, and if the answer to that is yes, you are in HR.
Hmm.
And therefore, if we are all in HR, then it's all our responsibility to make sure
Yeah.
that all of these things are taken care of. It's not just HR who's supposed to run with it. And
Correct.
you question HR if attrition is going up, what is happening suddenly? No, attrition is going up because what Joshita said, like the manager's goofed up somewhere. And the person is leaving the manager. He's saying, hey, the company is a great place to work with, but I just can't work with the joker.
Yeah, they say that people leave because of bad managers. No?
Absolutely, and I think that holds true to a great extent.
Yeah.
Even today, when some of the people who come up and say we want to leave because we've got this fantastic offer, we don't want to leave Ananta, but hey, we've got this 150% hike. What do we do, right? Yeah, sure. I'll go with all all our best wishes.
Yeah,
but these are the same people who say we would like to come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think it all boils down to what Yoshita also mentioned. The relation you have with your team. If your manager is the one who's forgetting to wish you on your birthday, definitely is something that the employee is going to remember. Right?
Correct. Absolutely. Hitesh, you're in manufacturing, which has traditionally been a very male-dominated, also like real estate, I think, but manufacturing is struggling to make it a more equal and more diverse workplace. What has been your experience and what you're doing about that? Or do you think women shouldn't be in manufacturing?
Oh, no, definitely. I'm not thinking it. Rather, I'm thinking other way around. Let me put it this way. Yeah, we have our goals for diversity, and this year also we are focusing more on gender diversity rather than other diversities. But our focus would be on gender diversity. See, if I talk about my organization is divided into two parts. One, R&D, and another is manufacturing. R&D is pretty well placed as far as gender diversity is concerned, but it is challenging in case of manufacturing. As you rightly said, it is till now, or rather said, till few years, it was a male-dominated industry, especially on the shop floor. But now time has started changing. We have also started looking for women on the shop floor, and though slow, but we have started getting result. Though we did not reach to the expected level, but we have started putting effort into it, and we are getting successes. And we have introduced certain policies also, or for that matter, incentives also. Every company has that employee referral program, and we do have employee referral program. But in that referral, it is being a women hired through program, the reward would be double what is hired in the referral program to male. So such small baby step we are taking in a manufacturing, though it is taking a little more time, but yes, we are confident enough that we will be able to make a difference on the gender diversity.
Okay. Divya, do you have any metrics in place, or do you measure the impact of what you're doing? And is there any way that you're doing that, or is it early days yet?
Well, we do have a process in place. We do have policies in place. We do have a growth plan in place in terms of diversity and inclusion. We have started in terms of increasing gender diversity, and the focus is on women. But having said that, are we taking differently able people? This is just a baby step that we're taking so far, but we are looking for more people in over a period of time. But focusing on gender, it's more not only women in a site or women at office, it's more on diversity in a regional, even on a geographical Indian geography. We're looking at having more diversity from different locations too. Yes, we do have, I won't say metric, but we do have a growth plan where we really need to reach 75-25. At this point in time, we are not, but we're focusing on and ensuring that we reach there. Coming to the point that I was super, excited to talk about and hoping that you'll ask me, that's more on in terms of HR just being the support function. I have a different view here because Colliers, where Colliers is not typically where you say, okay, HR is a support function. It's more of HR being a business partner for them. So we partner with the businesses. It's always a top-down approach that we have. And we also have small office social committee. Social people have the myth that social is only where you just have fun-filled activities that they do. But here it's more on a serious note too, where we do a lot of ESG, we do CSR activity. That's when, top from leader to all employees, come together. We have different people from different service lines or departments come together. So that's more of collaborative approach that we do in terms of ensuring that HR is just not a support function and nothing on HR always. We have leaders also supporting us as a business partner. So it's very positive vibe out here in terms of, yes, HR is there in all conversations, all meetings, all kind of support that we do from top down or bottom up approach.
Absolutely. But I think Joshita was saying that the aim of HR should be to make itself redundant because finally, there is only, the relationship is with the manager, and if you want to handle attrition and happiness and all, it has to probably come from there. And HR has, the role of HR has really evolved over the years. And, we can see that it's become far more, as you said, a business function in that sense. I wanted to talk a little bit about mental health because the pandemic has actually heightened our awareness of mental health. It's no longer a bad word, it's now okay to say that I'm not okay, and that's really actually, I think, a step forward. And so do you have, Joshita, do you, for instance, have something for mental health? Do you have EAPs, as they're saying, and how effective have you found them?
So we started with this EAP thing long back, but initially we didn't find too much traction in the initial years. And we used to be, really happy about the fact that there were not as many cases as one would imagine. But pretty soon we realized that, it's about the comfort that you have to create.
Right.
EAP today is almost like a mandatory thing in all organizations.
Right.
And what you need to do is provide confidentiality and, that kind of support to employees. Most importantly, I think you need to break a myth that exists in this world. If you're not well, if you have a cut or a bruise, if you have a headache, you can very conveniently walk up to a doctor and you can even come back, tell your, peers and colleagues that, oh, yesterday I went to the doctor said this is what I have. And you also, have that kind of supportive environments where if people are not well, people talk about it and they get necessary support. Then why can't we talk about mental health? It is basically health that we're talking about.
Right.
For us, we've now started talking about health as an entirety. It's not about physical health, it's about mental health as well. We've got EAPs. Yes, post-COVID, and even during the COVID times, we saw a good spike in that. I'm saying good, not because I wanted that spike, but because I'm happy that at least people used that avenue. They started using. There is a gradual decline that we saw after COVID, but at least now I have this assurance that people are aware that they have EAP support, they're comfortable using
talking about it,
and it's completely confidential, completely anonymous. You directly talk to the doctor, and the comfort that one needs with a therapist, that is the most important thing. You have to maintain that continuity. You can't change your therapist every now and then. And see, a strange thing, but a reality that you will not be comfortable with all therapists. You
Yeah,
might
yeah,
have,
yeah.
you might have to try 20 therapists before you find that one. So as an organization, we will not question you. You have 20 sessions, you have 100 sessions. We are there to support you till such time that you find the person that you were looking for and you find your solace in that person.
Yeah.
The
That's,
yeah,
yeah. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
yeah. So post COVID, I think that's a big learning for us that mental health comes above everything else.
Yeah. It's Amara, this is just taking on from there. It's,
Sure.
as I said, it's a bit, it's an ideal situation, right? You know, you're helping employees and it's with their mental as well as, but it impacts productivity, right? And these things do. So how do you make that? I mean, people have targets, right? And somebody, if somebody is not doing that work, somebody else has to do it. How do you resolve that? How does that work? And you know, I'll come to Hitesh and Divya, but maybe yours, because yours is a technology business and
Yeah.
Hmm.
We've seen what Joshita was also mentioning about post-COVID. We are also seeing cases of long COVID also crop up. Okay, people
Yeah.
have in the past 1.5 years come down with COVID twice, some of them 3 times. Okay, and they've come out of it, but they also are coming out with other difficulties that they are facing health-wise. And it is in this scenario that you need to provide that additional assistance. Also be there for the employee when he or she wishes to talk about it. Okay. And I think it also somewhere boils down to one of these questions from Gallup, you know, if you were to recollect this, that do you have a friend at work?
Mm.
I think that's a very important question to have, because if you have a safe place for conversations, it could be with your colleague, right? And what we started at Ananta is something called Ananta Clubs, where we bring together people with like-minded interests. Like I am the facilitator for the aquarium club.
Oh, okay.
And I've been into the aquarium hobby for a really long time. So I bring together, and suddenly now I have people from all across India who I would not have really interacted as much, but they are connected to me because of this aquarium club. Likewise, we have a football club, we have a chess club. And so like-minded employees who are from different departments are now connecting in ways that they would not have otherwise. Otherwise, it would have been, you know, the HR team has organized this event and they are participating in it. No, here, this is led by the facilitator, and this is not during working hours.
Right.
I had a meeting on Sunday.
Yeah.
Okay. And this was not working hours. This is of your interest, and people make time for it.
Right.
And I think if we can create some environment like this where people can connect on what interests them, there's a book club, there's a music club, there's a singers club, you name it. We have got about 20 to 22 odd clubs. Not all of them have taken off. There are in various stages of, that progress. But I think it's a journey. The very intent that we started off with met up with tremendous response.
Excellent.
And in a hybrid work environment where people are offline, people are online, I think if we can create some of these initiatives, it will really go a long way. It is helping us become a great place as well.
Super. I'm sure your aquarium club is a great success because given the passion with which you spoke about it. Yeah. Divya, what about you? How are you? One of the things that you had said when we were speaking earlier was that having a safe space actually helps you handle attrition. And, and have you experienced that? What have you done to reduce attrition, or are you not part of this great attrition that is happening right now?
HR team, whether you're in a different, you focus on learning and development, but end of the day, attrition is boiled down to all departments in HR. So we believe that, retention strategy starts from day one of the employee who joins in. as part of the new, as I said, new assimilation program. So there's a proverb, right? First impression is the best impression. And the management in Colliers strongly believe that every stage of employees' life cycle, we need to stay engaged. That's really, really important. And we've done a lot of we've taken a lot of initiatives to ensure that we stay engaged with employees. Just to connect with what Amar said during the COVID lockdown scenario, and it was a sudden lockdown initially, and we just wanted, we were just trying to connect dots, how to connect with people, and they shouldn't get mentally disturbed or maybe overstressed and all of that. So we started with the fun thing in terms of let's make way for fun. Every Wednesdays we used to play some online games, and also all employee leaders used to connect with each and every employee on a regular basis, just to ask, how are you doing? How are you feeling? Any support you required? That kind of conversation used to happen so that the employer and employees connected. We had different teams connecting with respective, leaders connecting with them, and HR team connecting, marketing team connecting, just to ensure that the people are connected, having a lot of panel discussion online so that people are connected, fun-filled meetings online. Suddenly, everything went online, so everyone thought, okay, let's get on having tea time in through MS Teams, all of that. So that was that was a beginning where we started connecting with people. More so is of continuous conversation that plays a very pivotal role in Colliers. Managers focus on productivity and performance. So it's more of continuous conversation that we have with an employee in terms of, are you on track, off track, what kind of support you need? It can be learning, it can be peer-to-peer info, or it can be manager support, whether it's site or whether you're based at office. It's more of the connect that plays a very important role. And employees are connected with HR. We have different platforms where they can connect with us. And we also came up with Colliers Care of Mentoring. So mentorship program also came into picture. And we had the buddy system in place so that people could connect. So that's how we took things forward. Adding on, yes, we have that EAP into picture that's going well. But most importantly, is EAP is not for all employees because they want something different. So we also had this mindfulness sessions. We have yoga classes at office every Wednesdays, every Tuesdays at office, so that people can just enjoy yoga. That's really important.
Absolutely.
And we also had sessions where people were thought, how about parenting, post-pandemic, kids going to school, and there's always a push that, should I go to school? Why can't I have a hybrid education, and that kind of support. All of that was taken care, and it's still going on, so that it's more of bringing in changes so that people are aware and getting things done.
So I think we have a few minutes left before we get into the audience questions and answers. Hitesh's final one, which is, you had said yesterday when you were speaking about how the most important thing, you can add infrastructure, you can add EAPs, etc., but you have to change mindsets if you have to bring about real change in terms of a safe space. So how are you working towards that, towards changing people's mindsets? You're on mute, Hitesh.
Sorry. So taking lesson from pandemic and getting along with the people, we have started since last 1.5 years, we have started something called Simers Cafe. We being into my company's name is Sign Life Sciences, and we call our employees as a Simer. So we have started an initiative called Simers Cafe, wherein other than work, they can contribute anything and everything. Say, I like mountaineering, you just come to HR, brief your story, and we will publish it to the entire organization. I like singing, you give me your singing video or give me a link. And this was the hit for us.
Okay.
And so, but there is only one condition. Nothing should be there in this target numbers or goals or productivity or working. Nothing should be there on that Simers Cafe. And it was really hit. That has paid me very well. And picking up the point which Amar has said, we have also started certain clubs, and in that recently we have started Eco Paddle Club. which is
Okay.
again out of the job. Eco Pedal is the group of cyclists who have gone for 75 kilometer on 75th Independence Day, and they have been appreciated. And must be to your surprise, in next 3 days only, the group was become double fold. From the
Okay.
small group, it will become double fold because people started knowing there is something
Okay.
else also to give more to the organization. So
Oh,
it is
okay.
not just working in the organization, it is the holistic approach along with the people emotions, people liking, and people productivity. So all these good thing about people emotion and mental acceptance, we keep on doing it. Like one of our initiative was Chitrakar, wherein not just employee, the entire family can participate in this Chitrakar program, wherein they will draw, color it, send the sketch to company, and company will exhibit it on one fine day.
Okay.
So
Excellent.
this involved family also, and when people started believe that my company is along with my family, they give more to the organization. And I can proudly say that it becomes successful. So yeah, mental acceptance is far more important.
Great. And some amazing ideas from all of you in terms of, I've picked up a lot of ideas in terms of what can be done. The other thing that I'm finding is that at least our younger people, when they join, I think they are also looking, I think sustainability has become quite an important thing. And they are, if they feel that the company has values and a purpose, it's a company that they would like to join, you know. And we're in the consumer business. Consumers are also saying they may not pay a premium for a brand that has values, but they will certainly choose a brand that stands for something. So I think, I'm sure all of you must be finding that, especially as the younger people and post-pandemic again. Ketki, Sneha, do we have questions from the audience for the panelists? Because I think we have a hard stop at 5:30.
Yes, we do have questions.
Okay, great.
Yeah, so the first question is, what measures can be taken at a ground level to create a safe space?
Who is it addressed to? Do you know?
So this is not addressed to, this is an open question. I will request all of the speakers who can answer it.
I mean, I thought we did speak about it till now, but if somebody wants to,
I think
do you want
we've
to
covered.
just
No, I think it will be just repetition, but we've covered quite a bit in this discussion itself. So I think that stands addressed, actually.
Yeah.
No problem. I'll just take the next question. So this is asked by Vishi Agarwal. So the question is, what can be done to let this small ecosystem of managers and employees flourish at all levels of organization?
Now that's a very big question.
I'll try attempting answering that. It's a broad question, but I think it is connected to what you asked, Preeti, is the last question to Hitesh also, in terms of that mindset change, right? So I think today people are looking for understanding their own purpose in whatever work they do, right? And that has been one of the drivers of the great attrition also, as to people trying to understand. And see, traditionally, employers have not spent time explaining to how you fit into the larger scheme of things. What is it that you are doing at your level, whatever level that is contributing to the bigger picture of the organization achieving its goals. And that mindset that is there required today is mindset change that is required today is having that conversation with the employee, helping him understand his overall objectives, key results for that year, and where does he fit in. You know, it can be somebody junior down, but you know, as you percolate the OKRs or the goals rather, whether you call it goals or whether you call it OKRs, I think it's important for each and everyone to understand, where do I fit in? If that is achieved, see, it's easier said than done. I've been working on it. It's an uphill task, but even if people get 60% of what it is still progress. rather than having to work, coming in, punching out, going back, and then wondering whether am I making any difference at all in the whole scheme of things. I think that also adds to the overall workplace vibe.
Absolutely. Anything else, Kirti?
Yes, we have one more question. So the question is, it's very difficult for employees to express their honest views when asked. What measures could be taken to make them comfortable and to open up about their opinions? So this is one of the questions which we have received.
Yoshita, do you want to take that?
I'd like to take this, and it finally, boils down to the trust that you have on the system, and credibility will eventually get created. Any amount of systems that you create, the focus has to be around trust. And with trust, the interesting thing is that once broken, it's very difficult to build it again. Whether it's saying that your EES scores are confidential, whether it's saying that your POSH complaint will be handled confidentially, it could be anything. And it's as simple as walking up to your manager and talking about your state of mind. If the trust is not there, nobody's going to feel comfortable. Nobody's going to come to you with the true, their true self. Once the trust has been built, you have to be all the more careful to ensure that it's never broken. The word here is never. You cannot break that trust and say, oh, it's my bad, my mistake. That can't happen with trust. So, and the challenge here is that with trust, it's actually a mathematical equation. If some of you, would know that, there's a numerator and the denominator to it. It's as simple. Just make sure that you keep doing things that builds trust. The more you do, the better it is, but it's never enough.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That was great. I think we're done here, Ketki. You don't have any more questions, right?
We have one more question. If you want, I can read it out.
Yeah, okay, go ahead. We have some little time,
Yes. So the question is, employees at workplace work with a professional mask, but somewhere beneath they are dealing with some emotions. How do you think that these emotions can be addressed for employees to feel better?
Who wants to take this?
Everybody wears a mask at work.
Yeah, everybody wears. I know.
Right. I'm a different person at home, and I have a different person at work. It's about what am I comfortable sharing at the workplace and what I'm not. If I'm comfortable sharing something at the workplace, I will share it. If I'm not, it's my individual choice. I mean, I can't do anything. You might create a very safe place to work, but if it's not related to, I will shy away. That's the same thing that happens when you have a counselor coming and that counselor is sitting idle for 2 hours because nobody wants to go and be seen with the counselor, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, it just boils down to that. At the same time, if you give them a space where the counselor can be available online and a one-to-one space where nobody really needs to see and nobody really needs to know, you start making progress because people will start reaching out, knowing that it's completely. It's just about making that space. I think if you're comfortable voicing it out, and like Yoshita said, it builds on the trust that the employer has created. If the employer in the past, and when I say employer, it could be the manager, it could be the general manager, it could be anybody. If in the past the employer has broken that trust for any one case, then word spreads like wildfire. You don't even need the grapevine is more powerful than any other communication that you would have.
Very, very powerful. Yes.
So it comes to that.
Absolutely. Thank you for that, and thank you, panelists, for your time. I've taken a lot out of this. I really many ideas. You must have seen me scribbling furiously, but I think in terms of the broad learning that I've had is that we have to start with the individual, and it has to start at the top in the sense that leadership and top leadership has to be involved through consistent action and consistent communication. Open doors, changing mindsets, building trust, etc. But it has to be, it's not a one-off activity. It is something that has to go, that you have to deeply believe in and do consistently, and stay connected with your employees, And also it's still work in progress. We are not yet in that ideal situation, but yes, we're all eager to get there. Thank you very much. I think it would be an honor for anybody to work for any of your companies. Given, HR, if you have HR heads like the ones I've spoken today, amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank
you
you
so
for
much.
having me. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone. Very
Thank
nice
you,
meeting
Preeti. Thank you all.
Bye. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Wow, this was such an insightful discussion, from learning about some